This episode is brought to you by Loot Crate. Would you classify yourself as a geek, gamer, or pop culture nerd? Then this is the subscription box for you. For less than $20 a month, you get 6 to 8 items of gamer and pop culture licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. Make sure to head to lootcrate.com/kfgames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on any new subscription. Not that long ago, and depending on where you live, not so far away, Loot Crate blasted off into a voyage across the galaxy, searching the far reaches of space to find universally awesome gear. Using December's Star Wars The Force Awakens loot as the launchpad, we landed on some equally cosmic items from Halo 5 and more. With an exclusive Funko Pop and an exclusive shirt in this month's crate, this is the loot that you're looking for. Basically, Loot Crate's like a friend who knows what you love and surprises you with an awesome present every month. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate, and when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. So go to lootcrate.com/kfgames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on your new subscription today. Your new subscription. What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 49 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by two of the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller, and the other one, Anthony Carboni.
Hey! Hey, I'm the other one.
Yeah. I'll give you.
There are 3 people in video games.
No, they just all suck.
You're like the coolest dude in like just science and stuff. You're the cool science guy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's untrue too, but thank you.
It's gonna be it's a good time.
It goes Ken Ham and then Anthony Carboni.
Bill Nye's
In the halls of science.
Right. Ken Ham.
Bill Nye.
No. Ken Ham,
doesn't get
Anthony Carboni, Isaac Newton.
The Mythbusters.
And then Albert Einstein.
The Mythbusters.
So where's my boy?
Stephen
Where's he
Dave
go?
Mythbuster.
He's not
the
on the list.
Mythbuster.
He's just not on the list.
Yeah.
He doesn't make the cuts.
No, Bill Nye doesn't make the cut.
I don't know.
That's
about
harsh,
that.
man. That's a
Yeah.
harsh way to play
I
him.
once ran into Bill Nye at New York Comic Con.
What does
He
that
was
mean?
surrounded by, almost literally ran into him.
People
Okay.
just
Okay,
chanting.
okay.
Bill,
He was
Bill,
must have been to
Bill.
some panel. I was going to, I think, our panel maybe. And he was surrounded by this entourage, which I found myself like caught in for like a moment as it was walking through. And he was like literally like, it was like literally like this for like 2 seconds. And I was like, oh man.
And that was the moment you're like,
You're not
you're off the
cool.
list.
Yeah. Bill, now you're done. You're
My
no
God.
Ken Ham.
Wow. Real talk.
I'm okay. For people that don't know, Ken Ham, he's a creationist. And Bill Nye and
They
Ken
did a
Ham
debate.
debated, and it was the fucking funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So this is a show where we talk about video games.
This is a show
Sometimes
about
we
Ken
talk
Ham
about
and the
science.
creation versus evolution debate.
You
wish it
know,
was.
all that stuff. Go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames to get the show early, or go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames to get the show not early.
Good.
The next week.
I like
That's
that.
all- that's
It's
all you
simplified.
need. Yeah, exactly. It's good. Where can they find your stuff?
My stuff, We Have Concerns is the podcast I do with Jeff Kanata every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at wehaveconcerns.com. And then I am on YouTube, youtube.com/acarboni, which I have just started a Patreon for, which is patreon.com/acarboni.
Look at us.
Synergy.
So much Patreon, so much YouTube. It's good.
You ain't cool unless you have 2 Patreons, is what I heard. I heard
true.
all the cool kids have 2
true.
Patreons.
Yeah, it's very
Exactly.
true.
All right.
So, first topic of the day. We got a boy here, one of the coolest dudes in video games, a.k.a. Trending Gamer, a.k.a. Game of the Year.
AKA Big Trend Daddy.
Yeah, exactly.
AKA
Big Trend Daddy.
I like that. I like that. So I want the topic to be the Game Awards.
Right.
But specifically, like we could talk about, Witcher 3 won. There was a couple announcements.
Which, of course, your boy Greg Miller predicted beat Colin's ass in a bet.
Surprised me too, though. Witcher 3 surprised me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The argument was back in the day between Colin and I is that I said on a Colin and Greg Live that Witcher 3 would win a Game of the Year award. And he said, no, it won't. And then we listed on the boards
Just
10
A?
sites. 10 sites. I was like, from one of these 10 sites or programs or whatever, it's going to win.
Not
a
your
Game of the Year.
finest moment.
I've not been having a good year.
Not your finest moment.
And then number 1 at bat, Jeff Keeling. There it is.
You had to have known that the odds were against you on that.
Oh, no, I
one.
did, but I like making bold assertions.
So that if you get it, you can say you were right.
Exactly. And if
yeah.
I'm wrong, we just throw it in the pile. I mean, who cares?
I like it. I like it. So, okay, obviously, there's a lot of announcements. Independent game, Rocket League.
Right,
So,
huge.
congrats.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. We saw
That was a good
Psychonauts
slate.
2.
That was a good slate of indie games
It
this
was.
year.
It was. Psychonauts 2 announced.
Yep.
Big deal. Big. Some people would be happy about that. Shadow Complex.
Yep, I was really excited to see that coming back. Hopefully it's a harbinger of things to come in terms of a sequel. Yeah.
Walking Dead Michonne.
Yeah.
I like that this is working out. Shaq Fu a Legend Reborn. No, my God. That was
No one's excited about that.
My God. Not even
What?
Shaq. It is going to be
Why?
fire, though, according to
Shaq was awesome.
I don't know. I didn't like that.
Oh, what?
The game.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Upsetting.
I'm
Like,
saying Shaq
I don't
was fun.
think the game is doing what it should be doing. Like I don't even think it's hitting that like.
I just like the Shaq model's traps.
Uh-huh.
Like he had these they put these shoulders on the Shaq model.
Yeah, shoulders on top of shoulders.
Yeah, it was just like 14. Like they were just like, how many muscles can we put on the human body?
Do it.
All of them.
All of the muscles. Telltale's Batman game.
Exciting.
Some people are excited. Some people aren't excited.
I tweeted out a picture of Fonzie jumping the shark because Telltale needs to just disappear for a little while. I'm getting sick of it.
Can I tell you why I'm excited about it?
Please do.
Because as the Arkham games have gone on farther and farther, and they become more about like how many people can Batman punch in the face within 13 seconds,
Sure.
Or how many rockets can he shoot out of his car. I like the idea of a Telltale game that can maybe give a little bit of depth and credence to the actual detective part of it and to the Bruce Wayne part of it, which is
very much so.
completely missing from the Arkham series. So that's kind of why I'm interested in it. But I see where you're coming from on the Telltale fatigue.
It's too much.
It's the
too
same
much.
reason I was excited when they announced the Marvel games, is the fact that now you can take these and have them in a more comic booky way, where I'm going to be reading along, making choices, be internalizing what I'm about to and what happens when I go on.
Without a Telltale game, you can't make for instance, like a Spider-Man game that has like some of the most iconic Spider-Man scenes of all time, which is like Peter and Mary Jane talking about whether he really has to take on so much, or like Aunt May, and like all this stuff. You know, this you can really get into the more human-sized characters.
It can be a cool story, yeah.
And Greg always says, but it's just like you just don't need to play the ones. Play the IPs that you like and not the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to get into it.
Just
right
try
now.
to forget
we
about
talked
that Jurassic Park one they made. Just forget about
that
it.
was-
I remember that was right before The Walking Dead, and that was
Not a good sign.
yeah, not a good sign for them at all. But I don't understand. Like, I really do feel like that studio is, that is going to fall off a cliff one day. Like, it's just I eventually feel like it's too much.
It
It's
can't
too
keep
much.
going with the games being as similar as they are. You're right, because right now they have an engine, they plug content into it, and we're going to get to a point where everybody's like, "Oh, I know what a Telltale game is," and I'm not very interested anymore. And they'll have to switch it up again. I think they've got a couple years before they have to do that.
Yeah, NeoGAF's not always indicative of mainstream views on games, but I remember when that was announced, I immediately went there just to read what they were saying, and it was very mixed. Some people were excited, some people were like, Jesus Christ. And one of the things I was talking about on PS I Love You that I didn't realize, having not played a Telltale game in a couple of years really, but reading a lot about it, is that for a lot of people, like, their shit's still broken, and eating saves or just chugging along, but whatever it is. And to me, it's just like, I wish they would just disappear and like really hone the engine and make it run better, because I was under the assumption that it was better at this point, but apparently for a lot of people it isn't, and so I don't know. It's just like when you see too much of anything from someone or from something, I don't care if it's like different IP. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's just who wants an album from their favorite band 3 times a year? Like, who really wants that?
Yeah.
Because then then it's not special anymore. Then it's not interesting. Telltale's not special anymore. They were really special with The Walking Dead. And I don't feel like
this isn't the topic, so we can save it for another time. But I mean, the argument just is like, my favorite band isn't Telltale. It's Walking Dead.
Right.
It's Tales from the Borderlands, and I'm not going to get another Tales from the Borderlands for 2 years, if ever. I won't get. I'm not going to get to see another glimpse into Clementine's life, if ever, for another year, probably.
Yeah.
Best case scenario. Instead, I get a 3-episode arc about Michonne that fits into the comic that's happening right now. I'm like, oh fuck, that's awesome.
Rock Band VR. We saw that for the first time.
It's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
New Uncharted trailers, Far Cry Primal, Quantum Break, stuff like that. We know, right? Then Nintendo we got Reggie doing the nice
Iwata tribute.
Very nice.
Which was very nice.
That was
very
a great
awesome.
moment.
But yeah, so okay, that's pretty much it. Game Awards, we've talked before on Colin Greg Live and other things about how we thought about that. I want to hear your story, Greg.
Sure.
Tell me, you were there.
I was there, Tim.
You weren't watching on the internet. You
I
were
wasn't.
whatever.
I was there in
Oh,
the
did you do a
seats,
thing there?
Butts in the seats. Yeah, I was. Winning. Holding my hand. Winning. Trending Gamer of the Year. Yeah, that's right. Thank you all for your support.
Big Daddy Trend.
This is the first time we've done this
Big-
podcast since then. Thank you all for getting out there and voting. That was what I think my favorite part of it was, is that I ran into so many familiar faces and friends there and this, that, and the other. And if you weren't following along with us, as kids tweeted me like, hey, you have 67% of the vote right now.
Wow.
Like, you look, Total Biscuits behind you with 14 or whatever the hell it was, or whatever. It looked like I was going to win. I'd actually think about it. When you got there and you talked to normal people, like the Mustards from Chair or whatever, or walking in, even with Troy Baker. I'm walking in with Troy and I'm talking to Troy or whatever. And it was very much like, oh, well, congratulations on the nomination. Don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, just wait for it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, because like
Well, was everybody there just like there's no way like you?
Well,
don't have this?
it was the way I was setting it up too
Yeah.
a little bit of just
Okay.
I'm like, oh, you came. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm nominated. Like, oh, I didn't even know. What are you nominated for? Trending gamer. What's that? I don't know, it's most popular gamer of the year kind of thing. Oh, who are you against? PewDiePie and Total Biscuit. Okay,
Never heard of
good
them.
shot. Yeah,
Never
you know what I mean?
heard
the
of
kid
them.
from South Park versus you, the guy who just was drunk screaming about Batman, Superman.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're gonna give it a best effort out there. You know what I mean? And so. That on paper, the story I was telling, from back in the day I got nominated was Tim and I sitting there at the kitchen table, and I was like, I want this, but should we go for it? Because I don't know if we can do it. I don't know if you know what I mean. Because it could have easily been at some point that PewDiePie or Total Biscuit could have been like, hey, everybody vote for me in this, and then it would have been a game changer, a different thing. Sorry, I know you put it back symmetric. But
I think it says something. I mean, a lot of these guys, yes, they have a bigger audience. Yes, they're pulling in more raw numbers. Like, yes, like the media comes to them for their sound bites or whatever. But I think it says a lot about like you guys and your connection to the community and like your connection to the people that actually watch the things you view. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no, I totally. No, that's what for me, this was like not only an amazing end cap to what 2015 was for us, it was like that culmination and statement of how powerful our community is. You know what I mean? That we do have this community of best friends, and it can be that like, hey, I want this. I was very open that I wanted this. You know what I mean? And that I was campaigning. Like there were so many people that were all bent out of shape on Twitter that night, right? Or even afterwards, of just like, oh, IGN clearly bought this for him. I think you think it's funny and da da da. And I'm like, you can like, and I only responded to one.
IGN bought it. Okay,
As a parting gift.
Way to keep up. Way to keep up.
I only responded to one person about it. I'm like, hey man, I understand, because he wasn't being like offensive about it. He was just calling to question how this could have possibly happened. And I'm like, I dig that, but like all the metrics and analytics are public. You can just search the hashtags and see what's up.
Well, and that's the thing is like I was telling you that like I saw so many people that were just kind of like not our people, just people that were coming in and being like, and they're posting all these screenshots of analytics that they were searching for like trending searches and stuff, and then your hashtag was like spiking way above everyone else's. It's like the proof is there.
Yeah.
Like this is not. There's no voting. There's no what. I mean, this is like actual.
This is fan voted. It was a popularity contest, and the way I kept describing it to people, and you laughed earlier at a Simpsons joke, is that it was very much I thought of like when Bart ran for class president. Where 1 for Martin and 2 for Martin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone assumed Pew or somebody else would win, so why even bother voting?
Yes.
Meanwhile, I'm like, everybody vote for me. Let's do this. Da, 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 and everybody got behind it.
Because like you said, you started off this whole anecdote with I wanted this.
Yeah.
And then you went for it like you wanted it.
Yeah.
Was it you that was retweeting? Somebody was retweeting, and I fucking loved it every time I saw it. It was just somebody was kept retweeting every tweet that said, "Who's Greg Miller?"
No, I didn't. That wasn't
Somebody
me.
was doing it, and I loved it. It was just like, "Who's Greg Miller?"
I only saw one come through, and I just responded, "Trending Gamer of the Year." Period.
What's up? Yeah, big trend daddy. I'm trying to make that stick.
Okay, I think we can make that stick.
Yeah.
But that was the thing. It was like night and day before and after. Because like when I came in, right, like Steimer and I check in, we get our badges, we walk in with Troy and Laura, and we're coming in, and they're like, oh, let's get on the red carpet. And Troy was a presenter, so he's also a huge name. So he had like a handler, right? And so like I didn't have a handler. I was just like dropped in there, like, here's your ticket. All right, great. So like we just kind of merged my group into their group. It was like, hey, yeah, okay, real voice actors who are doing things. So like, yes, lady, we're running with them. Da, da. So we get to the red carpet, and we're stacked in this line, and it's me, and then Cliff Blazinski and Laura behind us. Then it's Sean Lade, and like all these different people are in line or whatever, right? And then we're almost to the front of the red carpet, and the whole walk up to this, the handler had kept saying, "All right, cool. And if you're not gonna walk the red carpet, you can just come with me over here, and we'll go behind this thing." And and like nobody would move. She's like, all right. And then like finally, as we got like to the like diving board moment, she's like, so do you want to come with me? Are you going to walk the red carpet? I'm like, yes, I'm nominated. I don't know how many times. I'm not joking. I'm really supposed
Why
to
would I stop here?
Yeah,
of all the places to stop,
yeah.
why would I make this the line?
yeah. And so Laura Bailey, Troy, Cliff, everybody's there or whatever. And like they're about to all go. And then it was like, wait, hold on. Like a guy runs up with a little headset and he's like, hey, sorry, everybody. Dead Mouse is about to come through. And they're like, we need to get the person Camilla Ludington, she's about to present an award. We need to get all those people through. And quiet for Metal Gear, Stephanie. And so it's like they brought all these real people in. So then we're all just standing there awkwardly because these people are like presenting or doing something. Deadmau5 is eating a sandwich on the red carpet, doesn't give a shit, clearly. You know what I mean? And like I have this moment where I'm standing there and they bring Stephanie in next to me, quiet from Metal Gear. And I look over and we make eye contact and I'm like, hi. And she's like, hi, I follow you on Twitter. And I'm like, I know, I follow you too. Like, this is awesome. We're finally meeting. And I'm like, oh. So then I go down this red carpet and people actually stop and take photos and ask me about what's happening. I get interviewed by a couple of different people and different things.
Like Variety?
Yeah, Variety interviews me. I never saw it go to a print, so don't worry about it. Then I make IGN interview me.
Really?
Yes.
Who did it?
It was Joshua. Joshua Yale. Joshua Yale was on
awesome.
the line. He had his back when I was coming up on him, but he'd already seen me. So I just walked up and stood there, and he turned around. He's like, "Oh, hey!" And I'm like, "Hey, interview me." And so we just did a bunch of bullshit questions or whatever.
That's amazing.
But then we go through and like you come through to the front, and there's the AMD VIP area or whatever, right? And like we're VIPs. I had been invited to this. I was already talking to Carl Stewart, who used to work at Crystal Dynamics and now works over there, I guess. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then we get there, and they're like, it's like pandemonium of people, like real names on the outside and real names on the inside. And it's like it turns out if your badge doesn't have this sticker on it, you can't come through. None of our badges had stickers on it. It was just like, oh, okay. So it's like this awkward thing of like one person's going in and like all these other big video game people and publishers and developers are standing out there. And like Cliff and Lauren, of course, obviously get in. Laura Bailey and Troy and I are like, what do we do? And like Steimer's there and she's like, yeah. And then Justine came up. And it's like this weird moment of like all these people. And like that was the best part about this is like, leading into it, it was just hanging out with all my friends, right, that we've made over the years of doing this IGN up at noon, all these voice actors, all these developers, all these people. It's like a reunion, right? But I'm like for the first time like in with them, right?
Yeah. I'm
not just covering it. I'm like, I have a horse in this race. Yeah. And so we got there and finally we're like, all right, well, let's go sit or whatever. And so now the handler believes that I'm nominated and will help me to the seat or whatever. She takes me down to the seats that are on our little thing. We sit down, Steimer and I there. In the front, you saw it a few times on camera, but like the stage is going up is flanked by pits of fans, like they're like real video game fans. So when I walked in, they went crazy. Like they actually knew who I was. I was like, oh fuck, that feels
That's
good because
awesome.
I was afraid it would be like, who's this guy? Like it was on Twitter, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
But so I started taking photos and hanging out with them for a little bit, and then I went and sat down. And so we're sitting down and the show starts and people are still like trying to get back and forth between all the different places because like they were closing the doors when it was live or whatever and not letting people come in and sit down and stuff. So it's going on, it's going fine, blah, 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 blah. Laura Bailey had only come to watch the debut of the Uncharted thing because she had another engagement that night. And she had like, but when she had heard it was about to play, whatever, she came back down and they wouldn't let her back in. So she didn't get to see it on the big screen to begin with. And I was like, jeez. But I'm sitting there and finally I get a text from Greg Rice from Double Fine. And it's, you need to get to your seat. And I've been in the seat for like 7 minutes. I'm like, oh, delayed text, weird, whatever, no big deal. And I thought he was saying it because they're getting ready to start the show or whatever, which pre-show, I'm sitting around talking to fans, I'm talking to developer friends, actor friends, and it's so fucking mind-boggling to look up and see Nick.
I know.
Like, because they were running the pre-show in there, so it's like Nick talking about Metal Gear and all this stuff, and then you pop up about Mario or me.
That's
or like
awesome.
all our
I fucking
IGN
love it.
friends, like Jared and Miranda Sanchez are up there. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. But so I get this. I finally get this Greg Rice thing. I'm like, oh, no big deal, whatever. And I'm sitting there, and finally this the handler comes back by, and she's like, you're in the wrong seat. I'm like, this is the seat you put me in. Or she's like, it was a mistake. You need to get in your seat so the cameras know where to go for your thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, where is it? And she's like, it's the one behind you. And so like I was in like 2A and I needed to go to 3A. And I was like, all right. And so we get up and like this was like the pandemonium or whatever. People running around free on a headset. So first off, she says that and then just leaves. And so I stand up and I turn around and there's they have seat fillers, obviously, for people who are going and move around. So there's a woman in 3A and I'm like, hi, sorry. I don't know if you caught that. Like I'm a nominee and I'm actually, she's like, oh, no big deal, no problem. She goes over to the other seat. And so then I sit down, but I do like the knee thing and I'm to the guy that was next to her. I'm like, hey man, sorry about that. I don't know if you heard that, but I need to move seats over here. Would you mind switching so my girlfriend can sit next to me? And he looks over at the seat in front of me, looks back at me and goes, no, I'm not going to do that. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. I like my seat. I'm not going to move. And I'm like, that's when I full on sit and I turn to him like, are you nominated for an award right now? And he goes, no. Oh, I'm sorry. Now this kid just thinks I'm some other motherfucker that's just like.
He just thought you were like another
that I'm
seat
some
filler.
seat filler who's like, you know what? I want to sit there. So he pops up and Christine comes and sits down and then the show's going, that all happens, and like this kid like lucks out, of course, because we were seated so we'd be next to Troy's wife, and Laura Bailey, and so like those people come back and sit down, and you can see the kid doing like this, like he knows at least Troy and Laura or whatever. It's like, all right, fine or whatever, and so then it goes, and then finally like you're waiting and waiting for this award, and which it sounds like waiting when it was like the first 15 minutes or whatever the show. It wasn't that long, but this guy runs over and he's got the headset on and he's like, "You're Greg Miller, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm glad you're in the right seat now." I'm like, "Go fuck yourself." You know what I mean? You told me to, whatever, no big deal. And then they set up the camera, and like I noticed by this point, and I eventually would like start winning bets with Troy, because Troy's like, "Who do you think's gonna win this award?" And I'm like, I'd look around and be like, "It's gonna be this game." He's like, "Oh," and I think it's gonna be this. And then the game I would say would win. He's like, "How did you know they're gonna win?" I'm like, they put a camera on whoever's about to win. And so like there was a cameraman set up there for me, and I was like, oh fuck, here we go. And then Sean Layden came out or whatever, and I was like, Sean Layden would be a great pick to give Greg Miller an award. Sure enough, he's there to give Trendy Gamer. And so like there's that moment of like for me, time slowing down of like when he's like, and Trending Gamer of the Year is, and he like opened it and read it for a second, and then he's like, Greg Miller. I was like, poof. And like the thing about it was like I was saying earlier, to catch up to this long-winded story, right, is that there is like a legitimate excitement and craziness to our friends in the industry that I've won, because nobody thought. You're a big-time developer voice actor. You're not keeping up with this is fan voted. You're not keeping up with the percentages. You just saw my name up with PewDiePie, who you know from South Park, and you're like, oh, good for Greg. You know what I mean? Blah, blah. And like, because literally, like, it goes off, and it's Troy and his wife jump out of their seats and go fucking crazy for me. And I was like, that's an awesome moment. And then like the crowd had erupted too. And that was a weird thing of like, when they're doing the interstitials, like the little vignettes leading up to it, right? Like there's cheers for each one of them, but like you can hear even on the recap. I've watched it. The thing.
Have you?
I'm sure you have.
Well, I mean, it's like one of those like, is that a real moment?
I watched it like 10 times.
What are you wearing and where are your hands when you watch it?
But it's like there's like this loud pop for me. You know what I mean? Like then when it happened, like that was when it was off to the races. Like I think that was the moment of like, I don't think anybody thought it was gonna happen. It was gonna be this thing.
Can we talk about the speech?
Sure.
I would like to talk about the speech, because from the outside, I don't know how much you shared what you were planning on doing with these guys. I don't know how in on it you were, but
they came in 2 nights before when we were waiting to do Batman v Superman, right? And I was already drunk, and
Greg's
I was watching
I'm
watching the YouTube credits for Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And that was like the moment. And then like, what are you doing? I'm like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
Because if something goes wrong and I don't win, I don't want them to be like, I'm plotting to thank this Nicole Tan woman.
Yeah. Well, I think I saw a tweet from you that was like, you better do good, or something like that, which I was like, that's a very Colin tweet, but I wonder if he's already seen what Greg's about to do.
No, I didn't know. I mean, my big thing was, of course, Greg spent 90 seconds thanking a woman he's never met, but, just kind of glossed, over me, which is, it's fine. It's not a big It's not a big deal. I mean, I've just been with Greg for like 8 years, but it's no big deal. I thought it was really, I didn't know. And that's why when we were even talking about it, I think I called Greg, I was like, let's save this story, because I did ask you, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like when you were just watching the Tomb Raider credits.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it was
you
weird.
beat the game already. I'm like, what are you doing? And I didn't think twice about it. I just thought, well, Greg's doing a weird Greg thing. But I thought the speech was quite poignant, well delivered.
Yeah.
And really, I don't think it was done for this reason, because I know Greg very well. I don't think it was done for this reason, but very good for Greg optically, in terms of turning it around to be about someone else or other people and not about him.
I mean, and that's the thing that I was
like
kind
really
of thinking
great
about, is because I did see some sort of some people thinking on Twitter that it was like a very calculated move. And I think
when you look at Greg Miller, you think calculated.
Yeah, he's.
I think a lot of things, but
supervillain Greg Miller
plotting to take over the video game
using
industry.
us as chess pieces. But it did. Like, it was. I think those people are the sort of people that would have thought that about any sort of genuine outpouring emotion that they had seen on the stage. And I think it says more about what we're used to from the Video Game Awards. I think this was the first year that we saw Video Game Awards that felt more genuine. And I do think it's because it was removed from television and put a little bit more into Jeff's hands. And so I think people are just so not used to seeing somebody who genuinely cares that much, who genuinely felt as much about the community and the people who make the games. And I thought it was a brilliant speech. And I don't think it was because it was calculated.
Yeah.
I think it was just like, oh, this is somebody who's actually reflecting what people are thinking, watching this thing, if they care about games. And I don't think we ever had that before. So I thought it was a wonderful speech, man.
Thank you.
I mean, and that to me, that it was perfect. It was literally perfect. I've already told you this off camera, but it's like, it's insane how good of a job you did. Just not even just the speech, and not even just, it was like every single Every single moment of that was perfect. I'll never forget me and Colin just sitting in the living room watching, and it's like we knew, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I knew you were gonna win,
but we knew, you know.
Yeah,
But it was that moment. We both literally out loud were like, yes, like it was just like fuck.
Yeah, it was so.
Yes.
I felt such a swelling of pride, like for you, and even though I bust your balls about it all the time, like I texted you a long missive after you won and congratulated you and told you how proud I was of you and stuff like that because I love busting your balls publicly, but we don't. I mean, we that's our thing. But, But I was full having worked with you so long and knowing how important certain things are to you and how important your persona is and the way you treat people and we always say you're the yin to my yang or whatever, where it's like I don't really like attention, I don't really want the limelight, I don't really want that kind of stuff. You take that burden for both of us, and you deserve to be recognized. And I thought it was a very selfless and very stand-up thing that you didn't make it about yourself at all. And that's why at our panel at PSX I wanted to make it about you because I think that you lost your chance per se to make it about you. And I think that you deserve to have something about you. So that's why I asked everyone to give you a standing ovation because I think that was what you deserved to begin with.
The speech, I mean, it comes from two places that are the same thing, right? I mean, when it was clear that, or not clear, but when it was like, okay, I have a real shot at winning this might happen. I needed to think of something. And for me, it's not lost on the fact that outside of the esports team of the year and me, everyone else on that stage had something to do with making a video game and making that, you know what I mean? And so taking that idea when I started thinking about what I wanted to say goes back to a YouTube video I wanted to make for this channel and never got around to because we're so busy. For months, I've wanted to do, actually, I can even trace it back to the moment at Sony Santa Monica, when you and I went down for the God of War live stream. At the end of it, Tank brought us out and gave a speech and gave away PS4s to some of the participants or whatever. But he thanked us there and everybody clapped for us. And I thought it was so weird that they were clapping for us when they had done everything they had made these games and da. And it is that thing that, we're internet famous for talking about their things when they never get the recognition they deserve. And it was cool to be on the other side of Sony Santa Monica for that long and not just a press event, but to be there
hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I had come back from that trip wanting to do was a video in here one day after all the shows that was just me talking to the camera, saying a 30-minute version, I'm sure, as I tend to ramble, of what the speech was, it's not lost on me that this is unfair, that I am famous for this and you create this art that, influences me, but I'm popular. You know what I mean? I had this weird relationship with PlayStation, especially in the way that people think PlayStation, they think Greg Miller, but I don't work for PlayStation. And you know what I mean? All I do is talk about the games they make and stuff like that. And so I'd wanted to make that video. And what I had been struggling with was the message of it. Because what I wanted it to be was a chain letter. I wanted to make an unlisted, unmonetized video and then send it to all the developers I think of when I'm like this, and I'm share this with your teams, and say that in there, and be very clear. This is not to do not sub to us from this. Do not do that. You know what I mean? This is strictly to thank you and let you know that you are touching, lives and changing lives, and I understand that. And I want to thank you for that. But I had wrestled with how that was, and we're so busy and da. So when it got to the point of fuck, I have a chance for this, it was well, let's do that there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's do this on a stage. And it wasn't again, when I it's funny because when I came back the next day, you're and we're up this much on subscribers for the channel and this, and I was oh right, that at no point was I and I'm gonna get a lot of Twitter followers.
No, I know,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
And we know that too. And
no, I know.
But to continue what I was saying about just the emotion and stuff, me and Colin freaked the fuck out. And
sorry, I interrupted you on that.
No, it's fine. For 20 minutes after that.
But also Colin, wow.
I felt tingly, and it wasn't until a couple nights ago when I was rethinking about it. I haven't felt that type of tingle since back in middle school when I'd get IM messages from girls that the "do you like me? I like you" type shit. And you get that when it's that feeling of I got this. You know? And it's I had that for the first time in years.
Yeah.
And it's that's a weird thing to relate it to, but it was just there's this energy where it's fuck. Yes, we fucking did this.
Yeah.
Greg fucking did this.
We did this. This is
so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But to me, the speech impeccable, and like you said, you can go along. You like speaking, that you have this energy to you, but you somehow didn't do that. You somehow condensed it, and you somehow said everything you needed to say. And you definitely have gotten the praise for thanking the developers and all that stuff because you really killed that. And I love that. I love how people the reception of that and everything. But my favorite part about it is you going up and the first thing you do is fucking just scream beyond at someone that screamed beyond at you. And it's that was so raw and just so that's what happened. That's the emotion.
Yeah.
And you just let that out. And that one word said everything you needed to say that the people needed to know.
Yeah.
You know?
What does that mean?
That
That word.
Beyond, I believe it means like go beyond your dreams kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I've never heard it before. It was interesting.
It sounds
that
vaguely familiar.
So many
to me.
people
It's like
shouted
something
from the crowd.
I did a long time ago.
But that does say a lot about you, and it says a lot about you guys too. Where it's like there are a lot of people who would have left a project behind and been like, "Don't scream Beyond at me. I'm not the Beyond guy."
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's like
Well, that's the rest
reason
of our
why
lives.
the reason why that moment I think just like was so wonderful in the beginning is because it just shows how you guys are. Where it's like, oh, I'm glad that you like the thing.
Yeah.
Like I like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
thing too. Like yay, thank you.
Yeah, we
you know?
really liked that thing especially. So
Yeah.
it's cool that it's cool that we're still known for that, especially Greg.
I mean, you know.
But yeah, it was one of those things where I remember saying to Tim, I'm like, I don't care about the rest of the show. I like didn't pay attention to it, frankly, after that. And I was just on social media trying to like manage our account and get the shit up there and put out a tweet. And what I noticed about was that the tweet I put out about Greg, most retweeted thing we ever had on Kind of Funny Vids, at Kind of Funny Vids. The thing I put out on Facebook got seen by like 60,000 people. This was something that people cared about. I sent this to my family, the video, Greg's Acceptance Speech to my family. I put it on my own personal Facebook. It got like 1,500 likes from much strangers. It was something that resonated with people. I just sent it to people. I was like, this is Greg's coming out. It's not like it is about Kind of Funny in a way, but it's not. And I didn't want it to be. I wanted it to really be about Greg because it's a culmination of his hard work. We all work hard in our own different ways, but this seemed to be most congruent with the way Greg works and what Greg deserves. You know, I would never want to be on that stage. You know, like I don't want it to be. I'm not out there, and I don't put myself out there the way Greg does. So I shouldn't get the returns that Greg gets. So those kinds of returns, that kind of ultimate, like that ultimate return that Greg got that night, I think was fantastic.
But I think that the thing that's most analogous to me is, and I'm sorry, I know we just keep going around on this, but the thing that it's most
How the show
analogous
works.
to,
Keep talking about how great I am. No big deal.
no, is somebody was telling me about like the story of like the Lonely Island. You know what I mean? Like the Lonely Island is 3 guys, and the only one that really wanted to be famous was like Andy Samberg. And they all grew up together and they all grew up in the same town. And he was like, one day I want to be on Saturday Night Live. And they were like, okay, let's make that happen for you. You know what I mean? And it's such a testament to teamwork and how they work together that now you see Andy Samberg everywhere. You know what I mean? And you know those other 2 guys are there. And so that's what's great. You know, that's what was great watching and knowing you guys is like, oh, cool. Greg's the guy who does like that stuff and does want to be there, but I know that there's this team of supporters and team of friends that are all working because like that's the part of this that Greg wants and there's a part of it that you want. And so it's you guys, you know? Like you guys together. Really, it's all so
like,
good.
I think about this stuff so much, like not even just with awards and shit, but just like with the last year that we've had. And it's like it's crazy now that it's December. Like we're literally coming up on a year of doing this. And it's like what fun is success when you have no one to share it with. And it's like, I've always been this way. Like even back in the day with Alfredo and stuff, or like with Kevin my whole life. It's like, I want someone to share these moments with, or else like, I want to be famous. Goddamn right. I want to be famous. I want to be famous with people though. I've always wanted it. And now there's a fucking crew. We have a crew. And it's like, I want our crew to be this thing. And like you having this win, it's like, I'm so happy I get to share this with you because it's like, you'd have no fun if you couldn't share it with anyone. Yeah. You know, and it's like, I'm so happy about
So when are you cutting these guys loose?
And I was going to launch my Patreon on January 5th, 2016.
I think that's pretty good. Yeah, that's
Tuesday,
a good timing to do that.
It is one of those things where it was really cool to see, and we're real proud of you.
I mean, that was the thing, you know, like, so I, you know, give the speech. Sean walks me off. We walk backstage, and then it's back to the red carpet now to do interviews as a winner and take photos and all this different stuff. And that was the thing of like that when the text started coming in, like, because it was just insane, and then the tweets and all that stuff. It was you guys that stood out, right? Because we were sharing that moment even if we weren't together. Yeah, you know what I mean? It was that thing, and it'll be like a big deal to share and unbox the trophy together whenever it gets here. Like that was like, you know. That was the thing is like, you know, we always make jokes about how emotional I am or whatever, right? And like every day I was asked with the, you know, night and day, right? Of like, do you want to walk the red carpet? To everyone at that fucking place knew who I was and wanted to talk to me at the after party or say something or yada, which is amazing and awesome. So, I mean, like, when I was up there, like, everybody who met me at that after party wanted to talk about speech, and since then, always asked me, you know, how much was I on the fly and da. It's like, I had bullet points because, like I'm saying, like, you know me so well. If I didn't, I would get up there and just ramble, right? And like, so I had it like. My best man speech for Hayes back last year or 2 years ago, where it was like, I know I need to hit these points and this is my trigger to remember to go to here. But it was like, I can, you know, jazz it up in the wherever I want to. So like, I was so caught up in that moment that it wasn't until I got back and took the photos for YouTube gaming, and then they wanted an interview, and that's when I started getting choked up, and it all started like catching up to me of what had just happened. And then I pulled it back together, did a few more interviews. Then Dunham came out of nowhere because they won the award right after me, and I was like, what the you know what I mean? We had made so many jokes leading up to the awards about like, look at us, man. We're back, 8 years ago when we were at IGN, this isn't how we thought this would play out. You know what I mean? And then like we're both back there together, and then I went back, sat down, and it's just I was lost in my phone for like 45 minutes trying to talk to everybody, and then I finally had to be like, I gotta stop and actually be cognizant for these awards. Because at one point I looked down, I'm like, and Christine's like, what? I'm like, they apparently, according to the internet, they announced a Telltale Batman game. They must not have shown the trailer here. And she's like, you were sitting right there when it happened. I was like, damn it, sorry. Like another planet right now.
Yeah. My God.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Again, congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We're so
man.
fucking proud
Thank
of
you
you.
very
Super
much.
well deserved.
Thank you,
It was
guys.
awesome.
Yeah.
I want you to win again next year.
It's
Now
good to see.
I want you to be like the new like the Islanders dynasty of the early
Yes.
80s.
I'll bring this year's award next year.
Yeah.
Come up, have them both.
We'll put banners in the rafters.